back to Live, Laugh, Love with Jen. I am participating with a few of my friends here on YouTube in a Favorites collab today, and I have a little bit different of a twist on that Favorites collab. But before I tell you about my twist, I just want to encourage you to check out my friend Jessica at Jessica Myros. Check out her channel and her video for today for her favorites. My friend Vanessa at Vanessa's Beauty and find out what her favorites are. And my friend Tiffany from Small Town 6 and find out what her favorites are. I'm going to link all their channels and their videos in my description box below. But first, I want to talk about anxiety. I am feeling anxiety. Actually, I think I probably came out of the womb with some anxiety. Maybe we all do. That's probably a pretty scary transition, right? But I've had anxiety since I don't remember not ever having anxiety. And recently, as most of you guys know, if you watch my channel, we started renovating our home, and that just brings with it a whole nother level of anxiety to add with like being born basically anxious. Got a virus in 2020 and went into heart failure and developed a chronic illness from that. So it's just like I have a lot of anxiety. There's always a lot of anxiety going on inside of me. From the time I wake up in the morning until I go to bed at night, it's like a tsunami of anxiety after anxiety after anxiety. I don't even know if tsunami is the way to describe it. I'm just thinking of a wave. There's just waves of anxiety. There's all these what if thoughts. And it's easy for me to spiral out of control. And I feel like the world, maybe since COVID in 2020, maybe even before that, we just have so much. We have so much stimulation from social media, from just everywhere. So many things, so many cases of heartbreak. I just feel like everybody is a little bit more anxious than maybe they used to be. I think for a lot of us, the world kind of changed in 2020 when this new virus came into existence and we didn't know what to do or how to handle it. I think that a lot of us, maybe who were not anxious before, started to develop some types of anxieties. And then we had all of this time inside and not interacting with others, which brought about maybe some social anxiety for people. But whatever anxieties you may face, I wanted to come up with a list of things that I do whenever I feel my thoughts start to spiral. Does this always work for me? No. But if I can catch it just in time, then normally I can avoid having a full-on panic attack. And a full-on panic attack is when your body goes into fight or flight, and that's not fun. It brings with it lots of physical sensations, sometimes rapid heartbeat for some people. I usually feel like I'm going to pass out or like I can't get a good breath. There are just lots of physical symptoms to that. I'm not a therapist, so I'm not going to go at length into those symptoms, but I try to avoid those if at all possible. So I wanted to share with you the strategies, my favorite strategies that I use to either just make myself like in a Zen-like state, like things that I practice daily, or things that whenever I feel a repetitive thought come in and I feel that thought try to start to spiral, that I can turn to. And for like anxious thoughts, we all have them. They're like fleeting thoughts, like maybe you're standing up and you think, what if I fall? And you're just like, a lot of people just think, well, that's a silly thought to have. And it's fleeting. It goes. It comes and it goes. For some of us, that turns into, what if I fall while I'm standing here and I break my leg? What if I fall while I'm standing here and I break my leg? And it just keeps going and going and going to the point that that thought has made you anxious. And so if you try to catch the thought the second it happens, kind of capture it and do a couple of strategies, then hopefully you will avoid a panic attack. So I'm going to tell you my favorite strategies. First of all, I want to say that I have also learned these strategies through time of having anxiety, researching anxiety heavily through books, podcasts, you name it, I've researched it. I've done therapy myself for anxiety. So these are just kind of things that work for me. Some of the things are things that I just started doing on my own, and I didn't know that they were for anxiety until I found out later. But the first thing I want to talk about is that with technology, we do have an abundance of apps that can help with anxiety. So I have these apps downloaded on my phone, and this one I can go to and I can track how I am feeling. Each and every day I can track by the hour, by the day, however I want to do that. This app just gives me a little bit of information about panic, what is fight or flight, just little tips about panic attacks. This is my favorite app. This is the Calming app. And the Calm app, you can get a free version of it or you can get a paid version of it. It has things like daily meditation, breathing, an interactive activity that you can do. It's so great. It even has sleeping stories that can help you to get a good night's rest. It's definitely my favorite go-to as far as just when I feel anxious, or even when I'm not feeling anxious, just to go ahead and practice that meditation. And then this journal app, I think it updated with Apple phones at some point, and sometimes I use that to keep track. Like if I'm sitting in, like for example, in a waiting room, like in a doctor's office, I might jot down how I'm feeling, and I use that app to do that. And this app is a breathing app, and this breathing app, you actually continuously breathe instead of like doing an inhale and holding your breath and then doing a long exhale. You just are continuously breathing. So these are my go-tos, and I just have it under relax in my phone. It's very discreet. If I am somewhere, I can just pull one up, and I find that these help me. They're both preventative and they can help me whenever I feel those anxious thoughts coming on. And the Calming app the Calm app, I actually do that every morning. When I get up, I do my devotional, and then I move right into a morning meditation. And that helps me so much. So another one of my favorite tools, it's going to sound a little strange, but bear with me. It's like an A to Z category. So it's kind of like a game. And if you have someone with you who knows that you have anxiety, they can like play it with you, or you can just do it. You don't have to like actually talk out loud. I did this a couple of weeks ago when I was getting my nails done. I started to feel very anxious because I had no use of my hands. And basically, what you do is you think of a category. It can be any category. It could be states, countries, food, vegetables, fruits. You could do whatever you want to do. Just throw up a category, whatever category comes to your mind. So an anxious thought, you have a fleeting anxious thought. You can either start spiraling with that thought, or you can start an A to Z, we'll call it an A to Z distraction. So let's say you pick vegetables. So you use all the letters of the alphabet from A to Z, and you're like, okay, A, what is a vegetable that starts with A? A, asparagus. And then you go B, what's a vegetable that starts with B? Broccoli. And then sometimes, like in my mind, especially because it was taking her a while to do my nails, I'm like, asparagus, B, broccoli. Then C, cabbage, and then A, asparagus, B, broccoli. And what that does is it makes your mind stop the spiraling, and it makes you focus on whatever the category is, vegetables, fruits, whatever. It makes you focus in and use your brain to try to find things that start with that letter, and you automatically are moving yourself into the present. So you're not thinking about what happens if, or what if. You're not going down that spiral because your brain is focused on finding particular items that start with a letter in a category that you chose. And if you happen to have another person with you who's cool with doing it, you can like go, okay, A, Arizona, and then they can do B, and then do a state that starts with a B, or whatever you just want to start with. And so it just takes your focus off of that anxious thought and can help track you back to the present moment, because that's kind of what all of these strategies want to do, or this is kind of what all the tools that I'm going to present to you, what they do is they just kind of bring you back into that present moment so that you're not thinking about the past, you're not obsessing about the future, you're not letting those thoughts spiral out of control. So the A to Z categories is definitely one of my favorites. I utilize it quite frequently. My third tip, and I always carry this with me, I either pop in a mint or some mint gum and chew it when I start to feel anxious. That mint flavor does something. I think there's actually a term for that. You can research it, but it does something. And then I can focus on like the sensation of how the gum or the mint feels in my mouth, how it tastes, and it can disrupt that anxious thought that I'm having. So I always carry either a mint or some mint flavored gum in my purse, and it has definitely helped me in many situations. The fourth favorite that I have when it comes to my anxious thoughts and trying to control my anxiety is ice. If you can get to ice, I find it very beneficial if I put it on the back of my neck or on my arms right here. And it just so your body's thinking like, what if I'm in a car crash? And what if in the car, you're just spiraling out of control, you're going to think about that cold ice on the back of your neck, or that cold ice is going to bring your brain to what you're feeling, to those sensations of that cold ice. I also did some research, and I am going to talk about the vagus nerve in just a little bit, but I did read that cold stimulates the vagus nerve. And if you don't have ice accessible, if you can just walk out, if it's winter and you can just walk out in the cold, that can help to jolt you back into the present moment as well. Cold and ice really work, as strange as it sounds, and I never knew that it was connected to the vagus nerve in some way, shape, or form, but it is. And so it just kind of jolts you and it brings you back into the present. The fifth thing is like some kind of a fidget toy. You can go to Amazon and you can Google anxiety toys, or go to Amazon and search like anxiety toys or anxiety distractors, anxiety spinners, that kind of thing. And you can find so many things that you can like carry with you, things that are discreet, but things that make you like, instead of focusing on that anxious thought, it brings you back to the present. You can like, sometimes it's like something that may feel smooth in your hand, so it's bringing you back to that touch sensation, or it might have a sound, or it might be like a little puzzle that you have to put together. So your mind has to focus in on that particular puzzle or that particular task. And therefore it lets the anxious task go, the anxious thought go, and lets you live in that present moment and hopefully avoid the spiral of anxious thought. My number 6 favorite is to do a little game of I Spy. Of course, I'm not doing that out loud, but basically you just like look around the room and find something, and you focus on that thing, and you just like think about all the things that you can about that thing. For example, maybe you're sitting in this room and your eyes go to this red flower on this pillow. So in your mind, you think about, okay, I spy this red flower. It is red. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has 9 petals. It has a round circle. It's got some pinks in it. I mean, you can go as far as you want to with this, but again, you're bringing your mind to this flower and not to those draining what if thoughts. So my favorite way to keep my mind from spiraling into an anxious mess is to do what's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, and that is using your 5 senses. So that's using your sight, your smell. I'm trying to remember if I can do this from teaching. So your hearing, your sight, your smell, your taste, and your touch. I don't know if you guys ever did this in school, but I used to teach my kids to do this whenever I was a teacher. So basically you're using your 5 senses. So you find 5 things that you can see. So you're sitting in a room. What are 5 things that you see? Then you find 4 things that you can feel, or you feel 4 things. So, or even think about it. So you might think about like, what does the pillow that I'm leaning against, what does it feel like on my back? What do my rings feel like on my fingers? So you just focus on feeling. And then you find 3 things that you can hear, and you kind of focus on those. So like, do you hear the dog barking? Do you hear the leaves rustling in the wind? So you find 3 things that you can hear. And then 2 things that you can smell. So then you're focused on the smells. What do you smell? Like maybe you are in a mall and maybe you smell cookies from like a cookie vendor. What do those cookies smell like, you know? And then taste. Like what's something you can taste? Taste is always the hardest one for me because sometimes you don't always have something that you can taste. But if you do have that gum with you, that mint gum or just a mint, a hard piece of candy mint, and you can pop it into your mouth, you can focus on like, what does that taste like? And basically you're bringing your attention again from those just spiraling thoughts. You're just bringing it to focus on your 5 senses, things that you can see, touch, feel, hear, taste, and you're thinking about those, and your brain is thinking about those, and they're thinking about those in the present tense. So again, it helps to ground you back into the present. So I like to use my 5 senses to help ground me back into the present. And you'll notice a theme throughout. A lot of these favorites do use your 5 senses because when you're focused on your 5 senses, it's harder to let your thoughts go out of control. Number 8 for me is to say positive affirmations. Positive affirmations bring me back to the present quickly. For example, I'm driving down the road and I feel anxious. I get a what if thought. What if my brakes don't work? This is honestly how an anxious mind works. Just throwing some things out. Or you even might get like, what if I run over a cat? You know, or worse. But you know, you start to get these anxious little thoughts. So you're driving down the road and I have positive affirmations that are my go-to. That's, I am safe. I am loved. I am calm. So if you start saying those things to yourself, then you're not going to go down that spiral of what if. So you're driving down the road and you think, what if I run off the road? Random thought. Most people would think that's a random thought. But if you have an anxious mind, it can get pretty carried away. So instead of thinking of all those things that could happen if you ran off the road, you just tell yourself, I am safe. I am calm. I am loved. Everything's going to be okay. Whatever your positive affirmations are, you just say them to yourself. I've developed mine over the course of years of struggling with anxiety, and you can develop your own as well. And basically, it's just saying what you want and putting it in the present tense. So basically, if you want to feel calm, you say, I am calm. You might not be feeling 100% calm, but you make that statement, I am calm. And if you're by yourself, say it out loud. Say, I am calm. I am at peace. I am healthy. Just say those things, and then saying those things helps me to correct that spiral of anxiety. My number 9 favorite is another way to focus my mind. I think that if I can get my mind focused on something, it really helps me. And I like to do this thing where you can like start with like the number 100, and like you could, to make it easy, you could subtract 5. So in your head, you would be going, okay, 100 minus 5 is 95, 95 minus 5 is 90. That would be pretty easy. But you could like try a different kind of number. So you could do like, let's say 7. So 100 minus 7 is 93. 93 minus 7 would be and then you keep going. And you have to kind of do that math in your head. So it takes away, it distracts you from that anxious thought that you are having. So my final favorite tip is stimulating my vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the largest nerve in the body, and it is kind of responsible for that fight or flight whole thing, rest, digest, all of that. Research about the vagus nerve is really cool to learn all kinds of things about it, and there's all kinds of things that you can do on a regular to keep that vagus nerve stimulated. Exercise, walking every day, it helps. Sleeping, studies have shown that sleeping on your right side helps to stimulate that vagus nerve. But two quick ones that I can do when I'm starting to feel my anxious thoughts getting out of control are hum or sing out loud, mostly hum, and massage back behind my ears. So I take like 2 fingers and I go, because my vagus nerve runs down this way, and I just massage it gently. And it helps to bring a sense of calm. Again, I am not an expert, but I am a living experiment of all these things, because I literally, like I said, I've had anxiety my whole life. And these are just my go-tos. These are the things that I go to each and every time that I feel my thoughts starting to spiral out of control. There are many other things that I do and that you can do as well. Thinking in terms of like, is this something I can control? Is this something out of my control? What can I control about this situation? What can I not control about this situation? They're all different. They're just thousands upon thousands of tools and strategies to use, but these are my favorites. So I wanted to share those with you because I know I'm going through renovations and that makes me anxious, but I just feel like a lot of us are just experiencing anxiety. And so I thought maybe I should share what my favorite ways are to relieve anxiety. So these are like my essential tools. So basically we all have a toolkit of how we cope with things, right? It's just not like a toolkit that you can see, but we all have these things that we can go to for different things. So these are the things that I automatically go for when I am starting to feel my thoughts get out of control. And I wanted to share those with you in hopes that maybe one of these resonates with you and you're not feeling that great one day and you try one. I know for me, I have the hardest time learning how to breathe, and breathing, that helps stimulate that vagus nerve too. But the deep breathing, it can really help calm you. And so it was something that I really had to practice. Every time I would try to do it, I would start thinking about breathing. And then I'm like, what if I forget how to breathe? And the what if would just spiral and spiral and spiral. So it's something that I personally still have to practice every day, that taking a breath in, holding my breath for a few seconds, and then doing a long exhale. Just stuff like that can really help you. And I wanted to do my favorites on a video of something that can help you at some point, sometime. Hopefully you might remember one of these and you can be like, I know what to do. I'm having an anxious thought. It's getting a little out of control and I know how to stop it in its tracks. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. Again, do not forget to check out my friends' channels that I will link in the description box along with their favorites video. And they're probably going to be showing you tangible things. But I thought I would just do a little different spin and show you the non-tangible things, the things that you can, the brain power you can use. Of course, the little fidget toys and that kind of thing, those are tangible. But I just wanted to share that with you because I know if you're like me, then you've got some kind of, and like the holidays seem to bring out a lot of anxiety for a lot of us. The last minute gift giving, the trying to find the perfect gift for the perfect, having the perfect ideal holiday or whatever it may be. I know that the holidays are stressful and anxiety producing, and I know that just we live in an anxiety producing time. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And I also want to remind you to take time to live, laugh, and love today. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.